Hello students, this is the fourth video in a series around how we are taking data, or really we're not taking it, we're creating it. Creating data from scratch, defining where it should be in the world, drawing it, modeling the attributes, and essentially then getting to use it in our analysis. As of now, we've done this process primarily through the editor toolbar and drawn polygonal shapes. You could also do points and lines as well. But there's another element to this that I think is really important to be able to learn. Sometimes you'll come across maps that are historical in nature. Maybe they begin as a piece of paper, or it'll be a university or a campus that simply has a paper-based map as a PDF or something. And you may find yourself wanting to be able to actually take that PDF or that image, that piece of paper, and align it with where it should be in the world. Sometimes people do this if they can't get a good ortho imagery or they can't get a good satellite imagery. Maybe they'll take a screenshot or a series from Apple Maps or Google, stitch them together, but then they need to get them where they're supposed to be in the world. Right? So you hear my idea here is to take a picture in and put it where it needs to be. And you do that with something that's called georeferencing, right? So what you'll notice in your class, I've taken it out, because I want you still to have access to it, but you'll see something in here called historical land, right? So if you drag in historical land, or rather maybe, it might make more sense to take a look at it in Finder first, just to kind of investigate it. Historical land, what it is just a PNG of old land holdings in Philadelphia, I think from like the late 1700s to the 1800s. So this is actually East Falls. Your campus would be somewhere right around here. Here's Old Schoolhouse, here's Ridge, and here's the Wissahickon as it kind of flows up through where Lincoln Drive will eventually go. And so it's cool just kind of seeing, where the property boundaries of the olden days used to be, who owned what, and how those, kind of went around. And what I want to be able to do here is, hey, can we take this map that exists only as a PNG, right, only as a PDF, and actually align it with where it should be in the world so we can use it for analysis. So you notice that anytime you have a PNG or a JPEG, it registers as this kind of waffle-like shape, which means that it's a raster. And so you first drag it in, and we're just accustomed that whatever we drag into ArcGIS should immediately go to where we want it to be, because we think, that this machine just has tapped into our mind. But of course, it's telling me, well, what the fuck, Shay? I don't know where this is. I have no idea where I'm supposed to be. I am an image. I'm literally a picture. Why would you think I would have any kind of spatial alignment? And we say, all right, Arc, calm down. We know some tools that are actually going to get you to align yourself with where you're supposed to be. So if you come to Customize, and then under Toolbars go to Georeferencing, you'll get one of my all-time favorite toolbars in ArcGIS. Because really what this allows us to do is georeference an image, which essentially means take an image and put it where it's supposed to be in the world. Before you begin, I want you to go here, and I want you to, well, good, it is already off. If auto adjust is on, turn it off for yourself. It'll just be easier. Any images in here, you're going to have the ability to georeference. And I've already completed this one because I don't want to go through the arduous process with you on the video. But if you go to historical land here, I think that's the one you'd be working with. And really what you're going to be doing is adding what are called control points, right? So if I right-click this and zoom to it, ArcGIS just did its best. It just kind of like threw it somewhere in the world. It doesn't really know where it's supposed to be. It just took the image and it threw it. I need to essentially take this and I need to align it to where it should be in the world, and you do that by adding control points, right? Control points from there to here. But rather than have to keep jumping back and forward between the two areas, a better way to do this is view something that's called the viewer. Right, so you can actually open up a window, which is very cool here, and be able to take a look, right, at what you want to connect and where you want to connect it. And so the way this tool begins is simply by starting those shapes, right? You want to make sure you can spread out as many as you can right across the world. So maybe, in this instance, I'll take this little thing here. I know that's where the river meets the creek and I can align it as best I can to right there. And you just kind of continue this process through whatever you're using, through the best landmarks you have available, right? This is a tougher map. I actually did a bad one right there. I don't actually want that, so I can go into my links table here. And if I don't like something, I can just select it and I can say what's called delete that link. And I don't want that to be one. And what I actually wanted was to be able to take a link here, you know, maybe, and take you and set you to where you're supposed to be, right around there. And you would just complete this process. You want to just make sure that you're doing it all over the place. Don't just do it in a line. Spread it out along the map as best you can. Look for indications. The river's a good one. This is ridge, right? Maybe you take that ridge where it arcs and align it with the ridge where it arcs here. Here's schoolhouse, right? You can see schoolhouse follows a pattern. There's your first arc. There's your second arc, right? There's your end. And if you eventually did this enough, you'll get to a point where I want you to come to update display. Right, when you hit update display, poof, the map will patch on the screen, and then hit update georeferencing to save it. So update display and then update georeferencing. And if you do this correctly, you'll end up seeing it look like this. Right? It suddenly falls to the best of the abilities with what you were able to do given your data to align with the world as it exists. Right? So suddenly we now have a map that I've made a little bit transparent so we can see through it from the olden days that is lining up with our modern street grid. And it's cool because you can actually then start to use this for analysis, right? Like, so what if I came and I made my, in that geodatabase we made earlier, maybe I'll make myself a new feature class and it'll just be old property, right? And I can call that old property, and it's a polygon in the Pennsylvania state plane coordinate system. And maybe, maybe we'll have one that's owner. Be a text. And then I'm actually going to be able to use this, old map that I had just kind of found, and I can now turn it into something that I can use for analysis, right? I'm going to take these and put them into vector shapes, right, little by little. And then suddenly there we go, I'm doing to the best of my abilities. I'm going to be a little quick here, but I can start to draw up the world as it used to be and use it for my own analysis, right? This is, I can't even read that, John Ashbald. We're just going to make up that name right here, right? But I could go in here to the old owner and I would know that the owner is John Ashbald, right? And so I've moved from something that exists only as a PNG, right? Only as an image, only as something that was not previously useful, into something where I'm actually taking it and modeling it to its where it's supposed to be in the world. And then suddenly it comes into play from a spatial perspective. I can begin using it, to be able to copy features and the like. So again, watch this video 1 or 2 times if you'd like, because this is going to play an important role in part of your homework, or rather it could if you choose to be very ambitious with it.